Fight and Talk back again, and today I'm delighted to say I'm joined by the bad guy himself, Chris Bungard, ahead of his bout on Bellator Europe Series 9 on Saturday. Chris, thanks for taking some time to talk to us tonight. How have the last few months been for you, man?
It's a good question. Training wise, it's been a bit tricky, obviously. With this whole COVID thing, but once we got, obviously, the shows got announced, well, not got announced because mine's didn't basically get announced last week or a couple of days ago, that I mean, which I liked. I did like that. It was like, bam, I'm fighting next week, you know what I mean? So I did like that. But once we basically got matched and signed our contracts as fighters, then obviously, you know what it's like, still obviously around about restrictions in Scotland now, so it's not been as easy as we liked it, but I've been getting the necessary training in, but the usual, like you get wee injuries and you try to cut a bit of weight, you get even more injuries, and then they go away and you feel sharp. You just go through all these emotions and roller coasters just like any other fight camp, really. But then pull-outs as well, we'll get into that obviously, but it's just been a typical fight camp, really. But apart from the start where the gym was closed and stuff like that, but I did get kept taking over with training with Paul for his fight in Abu Dhabi and stuff like that. So here we are, a couple of days out. Then it's my turn to put on a performance.
You do mention the pullouts, we'll move on to that. Of course, you were scheduled initially to fight Tim Wilde. Now you're fighting Aymard Guih. How does that sort of change in terms of your fight camp? I mean, it's the second time now. You originally went to be fighting Mario Said in London, pull out, you got Benjamin Brando. How does that change your sort of training when you're mid-fight camp? Or are you more focused on how you can improve yourself as opposed to training for a specific opponent?
Well, they're different fighters, you know what I mean? Like Tim moves a lot. He's quite... he switches his stances a lot. He throws unusual strikes. Where Guy is like more of a judo player, like top heavy and stuff like southpaw as well. So yeah, they're different fighters, but our game plan's still kind of similar. Not I mean, like nothing's really changed our end. It's just kind of like the opponent. But as the fight in general, like I'm happy with the replacement. I'm happy to get one for a start. Obviously, there was a few names. They were talking about higher weights and stuff like that, and like my weight cut was my diet and stuff was on point. So I'm like, I don't really want to take it at a higher weight, so I prefer the fighter to come down. So a few didn't want to come down. Then they says this is the guy. I know he's fought a lot at welterweight and higher, but he took it at 155. I think he's fought there once before, so hopefully he looks in good shape. So it shouldn't be an issue weight wise, but. Yeah, it's a different opponent, different style, but no, our game plan's not really changed. So, aye.
He's fought, I know, a lot of like sort of British fighters and his share of opponent, of course, and Colin Fletcher. What sort of fight are you expecting from Aymard Guih come Saturday night?
Very tentative. He's light on his toes. Southpaw, obviously quite awkward, but he's looking to take me down and basically lie on top of me. It doesn't look, well, what I've seen of him, he doesn't look like he goes for the finish or a lot of strikes, ground and pound, stuff like that. So I'm just don't get stuck in the bottom. But if I do, you know what I mean, I'm just got to cut him up with elbows and work. It's all about work rate. This fight will be outworking him and getting him down first or beating him to the punch, you know what I mean? So I think it's just all about basically being first and being ready and working harder, and that's it. That's my keys to getting this victory on Saturday, which I will do.
And if you do get your hand raised on Saturday, is that Tim Wilde fight something that you'd look to pursue next, or is there any other names in the lightweight division you've got your eye on?
I've not even looked at it, to be fair, but I know Tim has tore his knee, so that's a while away for him coming back through rehab and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I didn't even look at the rankings. You know what I mean? I just take it fight by fight. I would like to fight some more international guys. I don't know. Let's see what's happening with the world these days. But I'd like to go to American fight or keep these. I've just fought in Dublin. Milan now, like trying these other countries out to compete in. Or even, as we spoke about a million times, fucking Glasgow, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I was just going to ask you that there. I've got the list in front of us: Newcastle, London, Dublin, Milan so far on your Bellator contract. For you, where would you want to fight next? Is it that Glasgow Academy? We've got Ross Houston, Chris Duncan. I believe one of the Scottish Hit Squad boys is now fighting as well this week. Am I correct in thinking?
Yeah, Nathan.
I mean, do you think we're getting closer to that Glasgow card, or?
We're definitely getting closer, but I wouldn't want that next because realistically there'll probably be no fans in it. So when that happens, I want that'll be sold out. You want everybody in packed to the gunnels, creating an atmosphere. So maybe give that a year, but you don't know what's going on in the world these days. You know what I mean? It's a bit shit everywhere now. But so they maybe just stick to it. They're Milan or Dublin's, wherever they can really do stuff like this. You know what I mean? In America, stuff like that. So I don't know. I'd like the one they're doing in Connecticut now or New York. I'd like somewhere like that next. But I'm happy to come to Milan again or whatever, London, Dublin. Well, not really London. Maybe I'll go to Newcastle before I go to London.
I know the last time we spoke, it was Dublin Media Week. We were on about, of course, just before you faced Brent Primus, and you were saying you were really looking forward to taking that fight because you wanted to see how you could hang with these guys at the very, very top of the division. What did you take away from that fight?
I think when I'm looking back at the fight, like the whole main event thing, like pure caught me. Like I was quite eager to get that when it's probably should have been like realistically I hadn't been training, I was on holiday, blah blah blah. Didn't really get a lot of sessions in when I came back through illness and stuff. So I was like, these were all red flags where I should have been like, right, the main event could come down the line, like don't. So I maybe should have took a step back and not took a fight, but I just kept seeing that Bellator 240 or whatever it was headline my name, and plus I felt in for somebody. I didn't want to be the guy who felt in and pull out. So it was strong on the deck. Obviously, his squeeze was really good, but I mean when I hurt him a wee bit with the elbows and like I jumped on the guillotine when I should have maybe just continued with the elbows or like defended the takedown instead of like jumping for the guillotine and going on my back. So these are wee mistakes that I made in the fight, but I felt comfortable in there. You know what I mean? I was moving about fine. I was in good spirits. I had a good warm up, and I felt like I was just a normal fight. I didn't even feel in, but when I had back control, it was because he was a wee bit smaller and stronger. It was a lot more tighter, so I had less room to move, and then obviously. Nearly popped my jaw off, my neck off, so that he was just good in that position. But you know what I mean, a few weeks later he's submitting Jake Shields, so I know what type of level he was at, and obviously former champion. But I'd like these guys in like full fight camps and see how they against the rest of them, because obviously I know Brent's a good athlete and one of the best in the world. So that is what it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really interested to get your take on that. Actually, obviously, you faced the Canadian Americans now, and also the British. What do you think about that European scene possibly having like a ranking system of the European belts in Bellator? Do you think that's something that they should maybe look to implement, or do you think just keep that one belt at the top of the division and fight for it?
I like the one belt, like fucking one belt rules them all kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I don't know. You could maybe do like a European like belt, and then when you win that belt, you fight for like it could be like a European interim belt. Then when you win that, you fight for the main belt. I don't know, man, but it's good as long as we can get more people going over or them coming over and just challenging these top guys out. I think sometimes Bellator push. There's a lot more stars in the company that. If they just pushed in, like they would create so much better fights than some of the ones that are getting pushed or are getting some of that like TV time kind of. So I think everybody just needs to bide their time and put their performances in, and their time will come. But some will come quicker than others, put it that way.
If we move away from sort of the Bellator and the fighting side of things just for a minute, if we go back to the very start of your career and sort of throughout, I know you've been very, very big on sort of regularly visiting like young fans and going to see them and meeting them in person. And I look on your social media, it was Kevin Kennedy, I believe, was the last lad that you went and met. How and why is that so important for you to keep that connection with that community and that fan base?
Because I just thought, like, if anybody was in my position, then why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you go, like, Kevin has got cerebral palsy, a big MMA fan, big Celtic fan. He's a fan of mine. I find out that, like, 5 minutes of my time could make the world to him, know what I mean? So I just think anybody in my mind that wouldn't, in my position that wouldn't do that is obviously got something wrong with him, because like his dad and mum like said that he was on a buzz for days and it's the happiest he's seen him, and that means the world to me, because like I still don't really think of myself as anybody, so it's still quite weird, but I don't know, it's just doing good things, know what I mean? Like, it's good, I don't know, it's just it's not that I need to do it, but I just feel like it's the right thing to do.
It's really nice to see. Yeah, it does completely. It's really nice to see, with it being so regularly, and the fact that it's been literally since the start of your career. I know that you've been big in that. If we look Scottish Hit Squad now as well, you've got a lot of good young athletes coming up through the gym. What can we sort of expect to see from yourself, Paul, Brian, and the team over the next 2-3 years?
You can see this guy soon enough. He was supposed to be in the card, Michael Boyer. He's 6-0 as an amateur, but he was supposed to be fighting Sam Slater on Saturday on the same card as me, but Sam pulled out. So now it's me and Nathan on the card. You've got obviously one of my main training partners, Jordan Strong, who's an absolute killer. Young Ryan coming through as well. Gary. Hunters, we've got Hunters, all these amateurs. I train with day in, day out. I spend a lot more time with these guys because they're my weight. They're more experienced at amateur. I think a lot of them are 6-0, 5-0s, but they're all my weight. So I do more rounds with them and I spend more time with them. So guys like them, obviously Paul, Paul's fighting Shogun, the rematch. He's had 10 fights in UFC. We've got like guys like Neil and Kev coming back to gym who are pros as well, Ross. So the gym's booming now. Obviously, COVID's fucking shitting all the tappies things now, but I'm sure when it all goes away next year, these guys are going to hit the ground running. I'd love to have like Michael and Jordan and stuff on Bellator with me now. I think COVID's given a lot of young fighters and guys a lot of opportunities through Bellator and the UFC. A lot of guys are getting a call because gyms can't train and fighters can't make it, and it's getting the foot in the door for a lot of people. As you can see through like even UFC and like Bruce McKee and my teammates here, it's COVID makes opportunities, kind of in a weird way.
Just the last couple now as well, Chris. If somebody's tuning in on Saturday night, they've not watched Bellator before, they've not seen a Chris Bungard performance, what can they expect from you?
Violence. They can expect blood, probably a wee bit of dancing in the cage, but they can expect a good fight. I'm never in a boring fight, but I'm in shape. The weight cut's gone smooth, so expect a finish. Probably a first round, I don't know. First or second round, but I'm coming to finish anyway.
Spot on. And Chris, finally from me, it's something I know we spoke about in previous interviews, but I think it's something that's particularly important at the minute, especially with people going through sort of lockdown, COVID, being on their own. And of course, it's a charity that you do a lot of work for with Chris's house. Can you just tell people a little bit about what they sort of do? Because I think that work's phenomenal. I think if you can give them the shout out and sort of you can discuss them, that'd be perfect. Yeah,
obviously just to let everybody know that, especially in these tough times, because obviously a lot of people are alone right now with their thoughts, which is probably the worst time to be. Chris's house is still there. They're still doing Zoom calls. They're still taking phone calls every day. It's a small charity-funded organisation in Wishaw in Scotland. The only 24/7 one in Scotland or Britain, I'm sure. But they're doing wonders. Fucking stupid flies try to get a cameo here in this. But they're doing wonders. I go and see them every week, and all the volunteers are saving lives every day. So if you feel yourself getting suicidal thoughts or depressed or anxiety through the roof, and you need to talk to somebody, pick up the phone Chris's house, drop me a message, anything I can do to put you on. There's always somebody to listen to, and there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Tomorrow's always a new day, so stay strong.
Spot on, Chris. That's the perfect way to end there. All the best for Saturday night. Yeah, I'll catch
Cheers,
up with
man.
you soon. Thank you, mate.
Yeah,
Cheers.
We'll get some pizza after it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
See you later, mate. Thank you.